What's going on, everybody, and welcome back for episode 42 of Hit the Books. Lots of good news from all around the leagues this week. NHL Free Agency started this Wednesday, and we already have a boatload to uncover from there. MLB Home Run Derby All-Star Game coming up soon. More on that later this episode. Let's transition and introduce my co-hosts, Tyler, Huff. Some good picks on the MLB card this week. What else you got for us?
What's going on, everyone? Happy to be back. Episode 42, as Jesse said. A lot to get into. A lot of NBA shakeups going on. Some NFL news. A lot of NHL stuff coming out with the NHL Free Agency starting. And as you said, getting into the thick of the MLB season. Getting into that halfway point. The All-Star Game coming up in LA. A lot to get into this week. Can't wait to get into it. But let's hand things off to the co-host, Michael Mackey. What's going on with you, my friend?
What's going on, guys? Yeah, we've been a little up and down on the card recently. A little better than what we've been, but we're on track for a hot streak here, so stick with us. Yeah, there's a lot of NHL trades and signings that have been going on, so I'll have to dive into this week.
Super duper excited to dive in this week. So much, especially out of the NHL, like you guys said. I think this week we're going to start off with the NFL. The Pittsburgh Steelers announced on Monday morning that the naming rights to Heinz Field will be no more, and effective immediately, the Steelers' home will now be known as Acrisure Stadium.
Obviously, it doesn't seem like a big news story coming out of the sports world. Obviously, this made the headline for two of the people on the podcast being Pittsburgh natives, but this is huge news for the people of Pittsburgh, and I didn't think this was going to get kind of the national attention that it did, but there was, media personalities, social media personalities on ESPN and Barstool people that were saying it'll always be Heinz Field to me, and a lot of the ESPN people were saying this is crazy. Like, it's just insane to see, like, the people on ESPN kind of step out. They usually like to keep their mouth shut, but, like, you see guys like Ben, what Ben tweeted, it'll always be Heinz Field for me, and all the pictures of him and the legendary moments, the thank you, Ben, his last moment there. I was lucky enough to be there for that, not knowing it was going to be the last game of Heinz Field as well. But seeing the pictures of the stadium already without the mock-ups, without the ketchup bottles in the end zone when we're in the red zone, and I don't know, Mackie, this hits home for me. But I know this isn't a big deal for you, but like you saw the Stu Feiner video I put on my Instagram story, I believe, but it got way more national attention than I thought it was going to get for just a Pittsburgh thing.
Yeah, I mean, I also feel like Heinz Field is such a part of the Steelers in general. Like, when you think of the Steelers, you think of their stadium, and like Heinz Field, you don't think, when you think of like
the south end zone, the
like,
hard kicking in the one end zone, the wind coming off the river.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll always be Heinz Field. I don't really care, to be honest. I don't like Pittsburgh. I'm not from Pittsburgh,
I was gonna say I don't expect you to have like too hard of a stance on this. It's like, but like you said, like kind of looking into what people were saying about this, like you even said it. Like, I didn't even make this point, but people were like, you think of the NFL, you think of these like cornerstone franchises that have been around since the beginning. They're like the Green Bay Packers, Lambeau Field, and then they're like, I forget what the second one, it was the Bears, Soldier Field, and then they're like
Soldier Field, yeah.
And they're like the Steelers, Heinz Field. I'm like, they were, you know what I mean? We won 4 Super Bowls, Three River Stadium and Forbes Field. I forget, the exact numbers, but it's just crazy. Obviously, this generation is going to remember Heinz Field, all the iconic memories, the defenses that we've had in the past 20 years. I think it was exactly 20 years it was called Heinz Field, but kind of a crazy, like I said, it's a very overreacting thing coming out of Pittsburgh media and Pittsburgh people in general. But like you said, I mean, it's going to be tough. Acrisure Stadium, like,
it's just one of those stadiums that you think of when you think of the NFL.
Yeah, and I guess I didn't realize it had that kind of recognition.
Yeah, because you're from there, so obviously you guys all know about it. But
I guess like I would think the same thing if like, just for example, like I know you're not a Giants fan, but like MetLife. I think in New York I'm like MetLife. I know it's in New Jersey too. It's like MetLife.
Yeah. East Rutherford, Meadowlands.
Like, there's just certain stadiums that like, I'm trying to think of certain ones right now that you just think of like For example, and like I
Yeah,
guess
but like
this,
Kansas City, you don't think of that. What is it, like James E. Raymond Stadium or something? Or no,
no, that's Tampa Bay. That's
that's Tampa. That's
Raymond.
Tampa.
Jesse, you were there. What's it called? Raymond James Stadium or something?
Raymond James Stadium.
Yeah, well, like regardless, you don't think of that. Or what is the Chiefs Arrowhead?
Yeah,
Arrowhead's kind of cool.
I guess Arrowhead's kind of, but like not really.
But it's
so
only,
let me drop
it's
my
only
2
because
cents here real quick.
It's only Arrowhead's
So-
only because it's not a sponsor. It's Arrowhead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I
Yeah,
didn't
Jess.
think about that.
Is it owned by the city?
I don't
Yeah,
know
it's
about
gotta
that.
be. It's gotta be. I learned about this in class that there's not a lot of those left, but
Lambeau?
it's public ownership.
Yeah, few and far between.
Lambeau Field.
There's no private ownership.
Yep,
It's just
Lambeau.
all public. So it's like paid for. It's paid for by like taxpayers and stuff.
Yep, that's exact. The Packers are owned by the city. It's crazy. I wish I was a Packer fan. That's honestly so cool.
The stadium, I guess, is owned by the stakeholders.
Yeah, I would like
So here's
honestly.
my-
I wish I was from that area. That is so sick to say. Like their team.
What,
like,
Green Bay, Wisconsin?
but you know what I mean. Like I wish the Steelers was owned by the city. Like I think that's a really cool thing
Yeah,
to say.
yeah,
Is like
yeah.
because everyone's always like the fans have no say in shit. Like Packers fans are like, dude, we own the fucking team. Like you could literally.
We actually do have say.
We might draft a quarterback every other first round, even though we have Aaron Rodgers. But we have a say in things.
Maybe that's their problem, is that they do have a say.
True. Go ahead, Jess. What were you gonna say? I didn't mean to cut you off there.
You're good. So here's my 2 cents on the whole Heinz Field thing, right? So back in the day we had 3 rivers. Currently for the ballpark we have PNC, the hockey arenas, PPG. Both Pittsburgh companies. Heinz, obviously a Pittsburgh company, and then Acrisure coming in here and just taking the plate. So
What
kind of
is
interesting.
Acrisure?
It's an
and-
insurance firm from Michigan that's coming this way. That's what I was told.
Which there's
Oh,
a
so
lot
it's
of
up and coming in Pittsburgh, so they gotta get the name out there early.
Yeah, I guess that's the first thing. And all they did was piss a lot of people off.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
they're not starting well, man.
apparently there's a big relationship between the Rooneys and the family that owns Acrisure.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of
I heard they only paid $10
internal
million for it.
who knows, because apparently Heinz said they the Acrisure offered a sizable amount more, but what do you believe? A social media poster.
Rooney's not going to release that number. That's going straight to his wallet.
Correct.
I'm trying to think.
Actually, who gets that money?
Him.
He doesn't own Heinz Field.
True. He paid for half of it, didn't he?
Well, he might own part of it, correct?
Yeah, I think he
But
paid for half of it,
You know
and
what I
half of
mean?
it was taxes. Yeah.
Okay,
Don't quote me
that's
on
fair.
that, but I think half and half. So he probably banked half. Of
I wouldn't doubt that one bit.
He's the owner. He's getting some of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
the name's already changed on Wikipedia.
Is it really?
It's still HeinzField.com. We're good.
I woke up and I thought that was like a. I literally was like, "Is it April Fool's Day?"
Was that like talked about at all, or was it just thrown on you guys?
It wasn't. No, that was total. Like, hey, I checked the Steelers' Instagram. I heard it on the radio because I listen to like sports talk radio, but they were like, "Yeah, Heinz Field will be renamed Acrisure Stadium." I'm like, "What?" I Google it and I'm like, "Okay, it's on Google." I'm like, "Okay." In today's day and age, anything can be on Google. Don't want to believe that. Next thing I'm gonna do is check social media. Not another great resource, but I go to Instagram. I see it on the Steelers' Instagram. I'm like, starting to believe it.
That's
I'm
a
like,
good source.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, the Steelers are saying it's Acrisure Stadium. I'm like, is Heinz going to say anything? Like, is Rooney going to say anything? And then the next day I see the tweet, like, things kind of like, obviously everyone was in there, you know what I mean, oorah about it, like, obviously how I'm acting about it, like, what the hell's going on? Like, why'd this happen? But I guess, like, then you see the Ben tweet, like, just kind of like the players reacting to it, and, like, then the Steelers are posting all this shit on their Instagram, like, the last touchdown at Heinz Field, and it's Najee running for, like, 75 yards in that last game against the Browns, Ben's last game. Just, it's like, damn, this is fucking real. And out of nowhere, like you said, like, yeah, no, we knew nothing about this. It was totally out of left field. And I guess back to what Jesse was saying, kind of with the Penguins, it's PPG now. Jesse, when it was console, when it switched to PPG, I was like, what the fuck?
Sorry,
I like PPG.
I meant to talk about Mellon Arena. So always called the Civic Arena back in years, but then became Mellon Arena, also a Pittsburgh company. But yes, it used
Oh
to be
my
Consol
God,
Energy
we're
Center.
gonna be our dads that we used to be like, it's Mellon Arena, and they'd be like, no, it's a Civic Arena.
I think there's still one sign in Pittsburgh that says Civic Arena,
That's kind of cool though.
like a road sign. I hope it never goes down. But just so you know, Huff, it was paid all in tax dollars and is owned by this is Heinz Field, is owned by the Sports and Exhibition Authority of Pittsburgh and Allegheny County, who also owns PPG Paints Arena, the Convention Center, et cetera, et cetera.
Interesting. So that's going to like a parking garage.
Correct. Next, with the NFL allowing teams to have alternate helmets this upcoming season, the Cincinnati Bengals announced that they'll be bringing out a white Tiger helmet to go along with their whiteout jerseys. I think that could be pretty sweet.
I really wanted to put the image in here, and I'm going to send it to you guys while I talk about it. But, Mackie, I don't know if you've seen the mock-up of this, but they've been kind of talking about this for the past couple of years, at least with the NFL, with they've been talking about this helmet rule possibly coming in the near future for the past couple of years. And obviously with it landing coming this NFL season, you're going to see a lot of the teams. Like I know the Eagles are doing the Kelly Green, and the Bengals obviously doing the white Tiger. The Steelers haven't announced if they're doing anything yet. At least if they do, I haven't remembered it. But obviously the Steelers, like the Cowboys, teams like that, but they're like, we're more of a classic team. We like to stick to the basics. Like the Steelers helmet has been the same for the entire duration of the franchise. It obviously gets its little tweaks and stuff, but teams like the Bengals, they like to switch things up. It'll be interesting to see, like obviously guys like the teams like the Eagles to bring back the Kelly Green, but I think this white outlook is going to look pretty sick on the Bengals this year. I don't know if you guys just got that image, but
that definitely looks ridiculous. It's gonna look sick. Joey B's gonna swag that.
Yeah, that gives him that gives in that image just kind of like you take the orange out of it because I don't know if you remember a couple years ago when they did the whiteout or like their color rush was the whiteout, but they had to wear their normal helmets. Do you remember that?
Not really. I don't think so.
So they did when the NFL did the color rush uniforms.
But it looks like this with the orange helmets.
Exactly, it's that uniform with the orange helmet, and they said we're just bringing that jersey back, but we're going to rock the white helmets with it, and it's going to be the white Tiger, whatever you want to call it, white Bengal or whatever. But yeah, they were talking about this, and they even said like there were so many mock-ups back then of that uniform with the white helmet, and they were like, dude, they have to do this, and there was always that rule: you can't have more than one helmet, But I'm interested to see what other teams. Like the Broncos, I think they're doing the creamsicle with the baby blue, you know what I mean? The Shannon Sharp, John Elway uniforms. I'm trying to think of a couple other teams that are going to be bringing out some classic uniforms that are pretty sick. But, the Patriots are doing Pat the Patriot, the red uniform.
Those are cool.
Yeah, those are sick. But a couple other ones, but other than that, none that are, jumping off the page at me. I knew the Eagles was the big one that a lot of people were hyped up about. The Kelly Green picking up Beal.
Yeah, those are cool too. But these jerseys are gonna look sick, definitely.
I think we're going to see some sweet setups going on this next season. It's going to be good. Next, Tom Brady said on Thursday, I've realized that I don't have 5 years left when talking about eventual retirement from the NFL.
I hope he realizes this sooner or later, because the clock, I hate to be Max Kellerman on this, but it's safe to say now the clock is ticking on my friend Tom. Despite 7 Super Bowls, I don't need to say all the accolades everyone knows, but this is no discount to him, but you don't have 5 years left. You have 2 that you're going to be, this year he's going to be Tom Brady. It'll be interesting. Obviously, injuries aside, I think he has, Mackie, what do you think? 2, maybe 3 if he wants to force 3?
Yeah, I don't know. He could also do this and be done.
That's the thing.
He literally already retired.
I hate to be the Max Kellerman and say the cliff. But he was saying that 7-8 years ago before two more Super Bowls.
If he wins this year, he'll retire on spot. I think he'll retire on field.
I don't know if he's a retire on top guy.
Fuck you, I'm out. 8 Super Bowls, drop your cock.
I know what you mean, but like, run it back for 9. Like,
Yeah, he's too competitive. That's the only thing.
he always has the mindset like I can repeat.
Yeah, I mean, as long as he's competing, might as well, right?
They're gonna have to. It's gonna be, like, I don't think it will be, but like, a team you'd have to force that guy out. He just retired and said, "Fuck it, I'm coming back." And they're like, "Yeah, please, thanks. We just won the division again because you came back. Cool." Obviously, with my boy Baker down in Carolina, I could shake things up.
Yeah.
If Christian McCaffrey can stay on the fucking field, honestly, like, who knows? I'm really excited to see that Panthers team. I don't think they're going to win the division, but I'm really excited to see that Panthers team. Baker, if I assume he's going to be the starter, Baker, DJ Moore, McCaffrey, a healthy McCaffrey. That's a very big asterisk next to me saying a healthy McCaffrey, but
Yeah, definitely a big asterisk next to it.
But I found
It's gonna be a fun team to watch.
Yeah, so another team in the NFC that's going to be interesting to watch this year, upcoming star or already a star, is Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson. Having a little quote that I found today while scrolling Twitter, a little article from Bleacher Report. Minnesota Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson believes he will be the NFL's best wide receiver after this season. Jefferson, who made the remarks during an interview with Cameron Hay of Complex, ranked Las Vegas wide receiver wideout Davante Adams as the number 1 at the moment. Quote, "I'll say after this year, I'll be the best wide receiver in the NFL," Jefferson said when asked if he believes he's the best at his position today. "I definitely have to give it to Davante Adams as of now, him being so crazy and dynamic on the field. His route running is crazy, so I definitely have to give it to him right now, but I'm pretty sure after this year, it's going to be me," end quote. Mackie? Any?
I don't know. No, sorry. Justin Jefferson is very good. Don't get me wrong. He's definitely in the conversation for a top 5 wide receiver. But I don't think you can give someone like him that label this early in his career. And I don't think he's proved enough either. I mean, he also was saying after this year. So granted, that
He's
could
saying,
change.
"Watch
but
me this
I
year."
would. Yeah, I don't know. Not in the position that he's in. Not with that team. Not with that quarterback.
That's where I was getting. Not with that team, not with that quarterback. You're not going to be the best receiver with the Vikings with Kirk Cousins throwing you the ball.
Maybe at one point in his career, but I just don't see it right now.
He could get to a point where it was like, remember, kind of like a bad example, I guess, would be like, I guess you could say Hopkins before Watson got there, or like, but like Hopkins was never the best before Watson got there. Like the quarterback usually has shit, and exactly, he had Matt Ryan, and like, say what you want about Matt Ryan, he was elite in Atlanta, MVP, Super Bowl, like,
he was elite until that
loss. So he blew the game.
Until the Super Bowl.
I don't know, but yeah, I was getting ready to agree with you. I was agreeing with you, but I wanted you to say the thing about the quarterback. Obviously, I know your opinion on Kirk Cousins and a lot of people's opinion on Kirk Cousins, but yeah, I don't think he can be, like you said, he's saying after the end of this NFL season, so obviously he could put up 1,500 yards.
I think even if he puts up the most receiving yards, I don't even think he will.
If he wins,
I mean, unless you win the Triple Crown, but
I was gonna say if he wins the Triple Crown like Cooper Kupp did, does he get it?
Yeah, but I don't think Cooper Kupp's the best receiver in the league right now.
I don't think he is either. I agree with him. I think it's Davante Adams.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Yeah,
that's the only correct answer.
Yeah, I agree. So I give it. That's where I give him his props. He's not being too cocky. He's like, no, I know Davante Adams is the best, but he's like, you got to give these guys their respect. They're going to be, hey, watch me. Astros up 3-2. Little side note, live bet on the Astros up 3-2. Bottom of the 10th. Got the fucking extra, whatever you call it, base runner on second still. 1 out. Mackie, what do you got? Just Brewers money line plus what?
Yeah, I got Brewers. No, I got them at plus 100.
That's nice. I love a plus 100.
Yeah, it's a nice play. Giants been real shaky. I had Mets earlier that hit, and then I had Red Sox earlier, and they just got swept by Tampa Bay. So didn't think they were gonna get swept, but
Yeah, there was I saw a lot of people that were all over the Rays, and I was like, I don't think they get swept, and they did.
Yes, boys, lots of good stuff out of the NFL. I think we're going to hear a lot more. I'm especially excited to hear about the jerseys, like I said. But without further ado, let's move into the NBA. First up, we got guard Damian Lillard has agreed to a 2-year, $122 million extension with the Portland Trail Blazers.
Mackie, this is what we said.
yeah.
I texted you. I texted you guys as soon as this happened, and that was your exact reaction. You go, "What was it going to take for him to stay there after them signing all these bum ass players to huge contracts, $122 million over 2 years?
$61 million a year.
It's ridiculous.
What are you? I don't know.
He's
You
just
can't hate a man for getting a bag.
Exactly. Yeah, like you can't hate him for signing that. He's accepting he's never going to win a ring, though.
Exactly. He literally. You know what I realized? It's a 2-year extension. He's there for the next 7 years.
Yeah. It's not just a 2-year deal. Astros win, bang. But yeah, I realized that too after I saw the number. I was like, okay, he's gonna make 100 or 61 million, whatever, over the next 2 years, and then he's a free agent. And I looked at the deal. I was
And
like,
then he's gonna go. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I was like,
he's
wait a
gonna go
second.
win
He
rings somewhere.
signed this huge deal a couple years back with the Blazers when they actually still had a chance at contending. And now, obviously, signing a 2-year extension at the age that he's at, not saying he's the oldest guy in the NBA, but he's also not the youngest cat. He, like you said, he's a Blazer for the next 7 years. Is it 7 or 5?
I literally think it's funny because it happened with all like this going on with like his Dame leaving and everything. I literally think he walked in there and said, "Give me $70 million or I'm leaving," and they were like, "Done. I'll give it to you right now."
He was probably like, give me 70. They were like, can we do 61, 62? He was like, just fucking give me a check. I'll sign it. As long as it's more than 60, as long as it's more than 60, I'll sign it.
Yeah, it needs to be record breaking.
Yeah, I need headlines to stay here. Like Portland, I've never been to Portland. Jesse, I don't know if you have. You've fucking been all over the country 16,000 times, have you?
No.
You've never been to Portland, Oregon? I haven't either, but okay, I just kind of expected that. Like everyone kind of hypes it up as like a cool place to live. Obviously not a major city, but like Oregon, you know what I mean? Like the Pacific Northwest, kind of a cool place. But like in the NBA, when you think of like big name free agent destination markets, you think of the Knicks, the Heat, the Lakers, the Clippers, the Bulls, you know what I mean? The big name cities. No one ever thinks of the Trailblazers. So it's like...
And nobody ever wants to go there.
Yeah.
Right. I've
So,
heard
like,
good things about the city of Portland, like you said, Huff, but I don't
just
think
not
people
a-
want to play there.
It's not a
It's
destination.
not a appealing trade destination.
It's kind of like, I hate to use them for an example, but like, I guess like things kind of work out. Like you look at the teams that win NBA championships or I guess championships in general, and I feel like it usually works out that it's rare that the team that wins, I guess it's also rare that there's usually a market that only has one team. But I guess you look at like a team like Portland or a Utah Jazz, like they're teams that haven't won in how long? You know what I mean? Ever?
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like
Trailblazers place. They
it's just
never
like
have.
it seems like bigger cities, like just to use you live in New York City, you have fucking 2 of each team, so like you're a bad example. But like Pittsburgh, 3 of the major 4. We don't have an NBA, but we have the other 3. Like Cleveland has, you know what I mean, baseball and football. Football sucks, but like, you know what I mean? Like I just feel like the markets where like the teams succeed, it usually, not saying it has any correlation, but I feel like they usually have another professional sports franchise. But yeah, just like these destinations like Portland and Utah, and like I'm drawing a blank on a couple other NBA franchises that have like they're the only Memphis. I know there's a couple more that they're the only team in the city.
I'm trying to think, and I can't think of any right now.
I mean,
Yeah.
like Sacramento.
Sacramento.
Yeah,
I know there's a couple. Like, not the Charlotte Hornets, because like you think of like the Panthers are in Raleigh. Like Carolina is one of those states where it's like all the cities are so close. But yeah,
I mean, I guess you can consider that for like Sacramento and California, some of those teams then.
yeah,
But
I get all the LA teams. They're like, yeah, we have the Kings, and we have the
Yeah.
fucking Dodgers, and you know what I mean. There's 2 baseball teams in LA, so they're like they just claim one of them. I don't really know how I led us onto this off of Damian Lillard in Portland. I know how I got to it, but off of free agent destination. But yeah, can't, like you said, Mac, you can't blame Lillard for getting a bag. Like we said, it was going to take a lot for him to stay there. Anthony Simons, $100 million, 4 years. That contract is ingrained in my head.
4 years, $104 million.
It's easy to remember, so it's also not, you know what I mean, like the hardest contract to remember. But I better see him on the top 10 of ESPN or like
he better earn that.
Yeah. And like again, go get your money, but just like what Portland is doing right now from a front office standpoint. And, you know, then you go, obviously, to them, it's a no-brainer to extend Dame. Kind of gives you some sort of relevancy, and, you know, your season ticket holders are happy for that many more years. You know you have a franchise player.
The only problem is you're stuck in the middle. You're not going to make the playoffs, and you're not going to be one of the worst teams in the league.
Best case
scenario. You're sitting there with the 12th draft pick every year, and you're not getting better.
Exactly. Best case scenario, you make the playoffs, 7-8 seed, you get swept.
Yeah, and then you just get beat up in the first round. Like it's stupid. Just rebuild or get rid of Dame. Like you shouldn't even be keeping him there.
Yeah, and actually, off the outline, one thing I want to get into, a different little side note that I forgot to add, is the DeAndre Ayton news. Today I was leaving work and I got a headline that DeAndre Ayton had got an offer from the Indiana Pacers, a 4-year, $133 million offer from the Indiana Pacers, and a couple minutes later, maybe it was an hour or two later, Mackie, you texted me. I didn't get the headline initially. I saw from your text, though, the Suns end up matching, and Ayton is going to return to Phoenix. Do you have any opinion on that? I think that money, I guess I'll get into my opinion first, and then I'll kind of lead into yours, but that money for Ayton, I'm high on him, and I really like him for Phoenix. I think he fits that, you know what I mean, that system down there and what they've been running with Booker, kind of the addition of Chris Paul and the 3-and-D players like Mikal Bridges and Jay Crowder on the wings in Phoenix. But he goes to a team like the Pacers, he's the franchise player.
Bro, he once he signs a big contract, he's going to fall off because he's not going to have Chris Paul to throw him up. Oh, my God, he's out. Oh, no, he's not. Never mind. I think Chris Paul makes him the player he is. I don't think DeAndre Ayton is as elite as everyone thinks he is, to be honest. But I also don't think he plays a game with the Suns this year. I think they take him. I don't.
You think they trade him?
That's what I'm thinking. Like you're trying to get Kevin Durant in this situation. You need DeAndre Ayton to get Kevin Durant. But why would you sign him that much money?
I see what you're saying. You think he goes to Brooklyn?
Yeah, I think it could be a 3-way trade or something. But DeAndre Ayton is the key to getting Kevin Durant. So you need to have him on your roster as equity.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. And obviously that's off the... I wasn't super prepared to get into this, but yeah, like I just remember bringing that up, kind of seeing the big money with Lillard, remembering the deal from Ayton today, forgetting to add that. But like I said, back to him going to the Pacers, if he would have went to the Pacers, and talking a lot of hypotheticals here, obviously, like I said, the Suns matching the offer. Hypothetical, does that team make the playoffs?
No. I think the NBA is so competitive, like in the past 2 years and for the next probably 5. Ever since Golden State formed that super team and smoked the entire league for 2 years, everybody just rebuilt and they figured out how to play with more than 2 players. And it became more of 5 players on the court and not just 2. And we saw it perfectly in the Brooklyn-Boston series. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are 2 probably top 5 players in the NBA, and they get swept first round to Boston. That wouldn't have happened in 2017. It wouldn't have happened in 2016. The game has changed, and I think that one player isn't enough to carry a team in this NBA.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you were saying there, especially a lot about how the NBA has kind of evolved from, you look at the years past when Golden State built, I mean, you look at the team before, what started the super team, LeBron going to Miami, taking my talents to South Beach, but just to get into a little bit of that, anytime I talk about a super team, I feel like I have to say that quote, but And you know what I mean? When you think of that, you can't forget the not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4,
What do you say?
not
What do you say?
5,
7?
not 6, not 7. And then he just stopped at 7. Everyone was like, okay, dude, you're not getting a 7 championships. Chill the fuck out.
Yeah,
And then,
but do you think that LeBron and that Cavs team, you know how that finals run in 2018?
yeah,
Do you think he could do that in today's age?
in his current age,
No, that team, his ability right there. I don't think he could do that in this year's playoffs. Like,
when he lost in 2018,
when he literally single-handedly got them to the
yeah,
finals.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I agree. He would need Kevin Love or Kyrie not to have gotten injured.
He would have needed someone. You alone. I don't care. I understand LeBron is
Also a huge part of that series that I'm not going to say a lot of people forget, but is fucking J.R. Smith forgetting it's game
running
one.
away with the ball.
Like, they were winning. They should have won that game.
No, it was tied.
It was
but
tied.
He thought they were winning.
They could have won that
And
game.
but he literally could have taken the rebound and just put it right back up, and they
Yeah.
would have won that game.
Yeah.
But they got swept.
So, like, yeah, you could argue, oh, it could have been 5 games, but, like, you take game 1 in Golden State. It's a different
Yeah,
series.
they might start panicking. See a different series.
But
I think there's no situation that
yeah,
Cleveland
I know,
wins
I
that
agree.
series,
I know
but
what you're
it could have
talking
won 6.
Yeah, they could have won. They could have easily had the momentum to go back and win game 3, take a lead, and then Golden State wins 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Good stuff, and possibly some more big money for another guard after previously shutting down inquiries on moving all-star Donovan Mitchell. Rival teams say that the Utah Jazz are showing a willingness to listen on possible trade scenarios. Sources tell ESPN. What do you guys think?
Mackie, is there a lot of talks that the Knicks are still a potential landing spot for him?
No, yeah, it's actually greatly increased in the past day or two. He's gonna come to New York. It matters what the deal comes down to, but they're gonna get it done. Utah is rebuilding anyway. They're not even worried about him keeping him or anything. They just want draft picks, and we have 8 first-round draft picks to get rid of that we can get rid of.
Did you see the one dude took a Snapchat video? He saw D Wade somewhere, and he goes, "Hey D Wade, are you gonna send Donovan Mitchell to Miami?" And D Wade gives him this little smile. Because you know how D Wade's a part of the ownership group of Utah?
Yeah.
They were obviously asking him that because of that reason. And D Wade gives him a little smile with a wink. I don't know if he has any say in that, but it was just
I wouldn't like to see him in Miami. I don't think that would fit at all.
I want to see KD in Miami.
I want to see KD in Phoenix, to be honest. I want to see that. I think that team
West.
I don't even think that they would win it.
You want him in the West so you don't have to worry about him.
I think Chris Paul is in that front office every day telling him, "Give me Kevin Durant."
Yeah, CP3.
Chris Paul wants that ring, dude. He wants that ring bad.
Thirsty for the ring, dude.
He would be retired right now.
Yeah,
But that team that he's on, it has so much promise.
He would have retired after he left Houston.
If they beat the Bucks in that finals, he would have retired right there.
Yeah. That was his first finals appearance, correct?
I don't know if it was his first.
That was his first time out of the second round.
Was it?
Yeah. He's Mr.
Yeah,
Second.
I don't know.
He's
I
Mr.
couldn't tell you
Second
from
round.
2000s.
Jesse, we get this last little bit of NBA news. We'll shift over some MLB. Speaking of the MLB.
Yes, sir. Yeah, very interesting point out of the NBA. The NBA has proposed a 78-game regular season, including an in-season tournament. All 30 teams would compete, with 8 teams entering a single elimination round to determine the winner, and a $1 million per-player prize for the winning team. The 2023-2024 season would be the earliest date for this plan to commence. Very interesting.
Yeah, I got this headline. I didn't really look into it too much, or is it kind of what this means, but no one's asking for an in-season tournament, so I don't know where this is coming from, if they're just looking to get kind of extra TV money or something from the, you know what I mean? The TV deals are out of the players, obviously offering them $1 million player prize for the winning team, but There's going to be 29 teams that lose this in-season tournament. Guys are going to get injured. Guys are, you know what I mean? Obviously, like load management, you know how we keep talking about that with different star players. You're telling me Kawhi Leonard's going to play in the in-season tournament that has nothing to do with the standings?
The NBA is so load management that nobody would even play in this.
Is Giannis risking?
It would be bench players the entire time.
I was going to say, is Giannis risking an in-season injury, ACL tear for $1 million?
For $1 million.
So it would be like a little 4-game tournament. No one's asking for that.
That's really stupid.
What they're trying to do is make 4 games out of the 82 kind of seem like they're worth more, but they're really worth nothing.
That's very stupid.
All they're worth more for is for the players, who you're going to get $1 million.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid, to be honest. They're just trying to switch something up here.
Yeah,
it's just not a good idea.
The only league that needs to change how many games they play is the MLB.
Facts.
And I like the 162, but like the COVID year, that was kind of cool, but it was too short, obviously. But like I'd like 148, 142. You know what I mean?
Well, the COVID year was real short though. It was half, wasn't it?
It was 60. It was a third.
Yeah, no, it's fucking. I don't like that.
It was crazy.
I'd say like 130.
I was thinking 120.
Yeah, like 120 even.
128 has been proposed before.
That'd be perfect.
Because you don't realize, like, it's baseball. They're not hitting each other. They're fucking swinging a bat. Yeah, the pitchers, they're throwing. They can throw their arm out, but
that's why they play every 5 days.
I was going to say, that's why they throw every 5 days. Like, they could play every day. There's a reason they played 2 games in one day sometimes. Obviously, doubleheaders, but... And there's a reason they went back to 9-inning doubleheaders. But... Yeah, that's my thing. NBA doesn't need to touch their regular season. No one's asking for this. Keep it the way it is. 82 games. If anything, worry about the play-in tournament. You guys were doing good with the play-in tournament. They're keeping it. No one really asked for that, but they kind of did good with that, and I feel like they're just trying to find... Like, here's what I think. They're kind of hoping that, kind of like we said, Kawhi Leonard, Giannis, they're not going to play in this, but can the Sacramento Kings win this in-season tournament? You know what I mean? Like, is De'Aaron Fox going to play in this in-season tournament to win $1 million because he knows he's not going to win an NBA Finals this year?
Yeah, probably.
That's what I mean. So I think that's kind of like what the NBA is kind of going for. They're kind of rooting for these small market teams. They're like, we'll put a little in-season tournament in that means nothing, and Golden State's going to still win the Finals in June.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I don't necessarily
I still think
they're
it's a really bad idea.
But yeah, I think it's terrible. But that's kind of, I guess, their logic on it. Still not good. I don't think it's, like I said, 82 games, don't touch it.
I agree.
Shift into some MLB. Speaking of the MLB.
Yes, love the MLB. It's time. We got some picks coming out daily, so keep an eye out on those. We're doing all right most days. Not so great some other days, but keep an eye on us. We're doing all right.
We've been fluctuating.
Very back and forth.
We've been fluctuating with the MLB. I'm not going to lie. We're not the most, I hate to say experienced MLB bettors, but
it's just inconsistency is what it is.
It's inconsistency and
it's kind of like, I feel like, well, we got terrible beat, by the way, on the parlay with the Yankees.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Giants win 13-0, no sweat. You get the Yankees blowing a 3-0 lead. It should have been a no sweat parlay, and we ended up losing it.
Yeah.
The Michael Mackey no sweat parlay.
Mackey,
TM.
I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to give another 2-teamer tonight, and it was gonna be the same, not the same thing, but it was gonna be the Yankees. I'm glad we didn't do it.
Yeah. See, they're not even worth it at the odds that you get them at.
Some nights they are. Some nights you can catch them at like 200, and if you put them with like a team that you fucking love, minus 140, you get plus 180, plus 190. You're like, this is free money. It's what you just said, a no sweat parlay. You'll win fucking, the Yankees will win 16-0 against the Pirates, and then you'll get the Brewers to win, 4-1 in Kansas City. There's some like,
yeah.
obviously the first time, of course, the first time you see, like, that was a bad beat. We always talk about, we want to keep getting into this segment, bad beats. There it fucking is. It just happened to us last night.
Bad beat.
Yeah, like, that's brutal. Ninth inning. I sent you guys the meme that BR Betting put on their Instagram. Like, that was literally me laying in my bed after I saw the fucking notification for the base hit. I was like, yep, that's it. Night. Lock the phone. Set the alarm. See you in the morning.
Yeah, that's when you call it quits for the night.
You're like, all right, tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah, we'll have picks coming out a little more often. We got to get back on top of that.
Yeah, we definitely want to stay consistent with the MLB. I think the biggest thing is the consistency, and kind of get back into what we were saying is there's some nights, Mackie, you'll send the plays and you'll go 3-0, and there's some nights I'll send plays on the same night and go 0-3, and we'll take a mix and we'll end up 1-1.
Exactly, yeah.
And then there's nights I'll send you a card, it goes 3-0, you send me one, it goes 0-3, we end up taking nothing. You know what I mean? Like,
and at the end of the day, probably would have split it anyway.
We would have split it anyway.
We say we get 2 picks a night. We usually go 1-1, and you're at the end of the day, you're usually losing some profit going 1-1.
Yeah, we're at that going 1-1.
We either got to give 1 play and win it, or 3 plays and win at least 2.
Yeah, you want to win 3 out of 5
consistently.
Yes. That's obviously not including plus money bets. Obviously, last night releasing 2 plus money plays, going 1-1, making
Astros sold,
making a 0.3 unit. But obviously, like I said, kind of getting into my point, you can lose one and we still made some money on that. Whereas if the Astros would have won and the Orioles would have lost, we would have had no unit movement, 1-1. Sometimes in the MLB, it's like, obviously there's teams that you're like, okay, they're plus 180, they're not going to win. But, like, I know people that just take dogs in the MLB and they make good money.
It's so smart, but I can't get myself to do it.
I can't do it, dude.
Because I like so many favorites.
You're betting on teams like the Tigers and the fucking Diamondbacks.
I like betting on the Tigers because they're not really that bad of a team. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're bad.
Their pitching's bad.
But they can surprise you and win some games. Dude, the Royals today were like plus 350.
But that's what I mean. That's the Pirates. The Pirates beat the Yankees.
And they won.
Like the Pirates, I had the Pirates, like you look at teams like that, that's the MLB. They play 162 games. Like you can catch any.
Dude, that's the thing. That's the thing about the MLB is that betting underdogs is so profitable because there's 162 games. Every team loses games. You're not going to be.
You would know for how bad the Pirates are. I see a stat every year at the end of the year. If you bet Pirates money line every year, there's some years you're literally profitable.
Yeah, well, this is definitely one of the years because they're really not having that bad of a year right now.
No, but the thing is when they're not having that bad of a year, when you're an underdog, you're plus 130, whereas other years you're plus 220, and when you win, obviously you know how that unit movement works. It's worth 2 wins this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, like we said, stay tuned to the MLB card. We're definitely looking to sharpen that thing up and get the units back up towards, as we said, we're definitely going to count. I don't know if we have any, obviously, if things work out for the All-Star game and the Home Run Derby, we're definitely going to put something on the team MLB card, but definitely going to be releasing an individual card as things go for the Home Run Derby, I believe. I love betting on the Home Run Derby since I started my sports gambling career. I've found that is honestly one of my favorite events to gamble on. Mackie, you have any opinion on that?
The Home Run Derby?
Yeah.
You do pretty well on it, Huff, don't you?
I had Alonso last year. The year before, I wasn't betting on it, but I've only done it 1 year. But obviously winning, I think I'm on a little bit of a high. This year, I have a guy that I'm riding high on. I haven't seen any of the odds, so it'll be interesting to see the guy that I like just looking at the bracket and then seeing the odds and kind of seeing, oh, shit, I'm riding with the underdog or I'm riding with the betting favorite or someone that's in the middle. You know what I mean?
Who you riding with?
We'll get into that when we read the bracket out. I want to get into the, so obviously, like I said,
Can I give a guess?
Yeah, whenever I get to that, I'm gonna read the line. I'm gonna announce the American League starters and the National League starters for the All-Star game. After that, I'm gonna announce the bracket, and then after I announce the bracket, where you can make your pick for yourself or who you think I'm gonna pick, and then I'll confirm or deny, and then you can make yours.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. Gotcha. And then, Jesse, you're going to make a pick too. Here we go. The 2022 MLB All-Star Game rosters and starting lineups have been announced. I'll be naming the starters in each league, I guess you would say in the MLB. I hate saying that. I always want to say conference, but the American League starters will go as is. Catcher, Alejandro Kirk from the Toronto Blue Jays, having a pretty nice year. I've picked him up on my fantasy team a couple times throughout the beginning half of the year. Had some good plays for me. He's definitely had a very consistent year. Was he a big name last year? I don't remember seeing him too much last year, Mackie.
He's always been like somebody, but I don't know. He's having a really good year this year.
He's killing it. He's a funny looking dude too. He's a little like pudgy looking dude.
He's a little pudgy motherfucker, right?
Yeah, I like watching this dude play. So I'm not going to get into obviously a lot of the other guys are big names, but I did want to ask you that. I didn't know if this was his first year with the Blue Jays. Kind of unfamiliar on him, but I did have him on my fantasy team a couple of times, dropping and picking him up, but obviously having a pretty consistent part of the year. Hasn't been on the free agent market for me, but get into some of these other positions in the American League. We have at the first position, Kirk's teammate, Vlad Guerrero Jr., second base, Jose Altuve, third baseman, Rafael Devers from the Boston Red Sox, shortstop, Tim Anderson, White Sox, outfield, we have Aaron Judge, obviously, well-deserved. Mike Trout, not far behind him in the home run race. Obviously a stud, but then Judge's teammate out there in New York, Giancarlo Stanton, is going to finish up the outfield, and then the DH being Shohei Ohtani to wrap up the lineup for the American League. We'll get into the National League starters. We have the catcher from the Chicago Cubs, Wilson Contreras. First baseman, St. Louis Cardinals, Paul Goldschmidt. Second baseman, one of the players I like to root for in the MLB is Miami Marlins second baseman Jazz Chisholm. I just kind of like his hair and his name. But
everyone likes him.
Yeah, definitely a fun player to watch. But third baseman Manny Machado, San Diego Padres. Everyone knows Manny. Trey Turner, Dodgers. And then the outfield for the NL is going to make up of Ronald Acuna Jr. I'm happy to see him back. He's definitely, I'd argue he's one of my favorite players in the MLB. Definitely love. Kind of sucked to see the Braves win a World Series without him, but that's just me coming from being one of his fans. But the other outfielders for the NL are going to be Mookie Betts and Jock Peterson, having a nice year for the San Francisco Giants. The DH Bryce Harper. So obviously not naming any of the pitchers. I didn't get the pitcher lineups, I guess you'd say, but those are going to be the starting lineups for the defensive positions, I guess you would say, everything other than pitcher, or batting lineups, I guess you'd say, because of the DH, but
there's some good lineups. I mean, I don't really know any snubs, so
yeah. And
surprised the Mets don't have any starters.
I was just going to say, there's a couple teams that have obviously duplicate starters. Guys like, I think the Yankees are the only one, actually. Oh, the Dodgers, Trey Turner, Mookie. I knew there was one more. Obviously, Yankees and Dodgers are going to have duplicates. The two,
of course.
And I'm not getting into the reserves, but there's definitely a lot more duplicates.
Yeah, well, there's definitely a bunch of those. Yeah, but
I mean, each team has to send one guy, but fuck me, dude. You can leave this in there, but I wanted to live bet the fucking Mariners because I was pissed about us not getting that bet in on them and that getting postponed. I was going to bet them tonight. They were down to fucking like 3 or 4-0. It was like 4-10. I was like, damn, that wouldn't be that bad. It was only the third inning. They just fucking won.
Yeah, 6-5. I saw that.
Damn it. They've been so profitable this year.
What, Mariners?
Yeah.
They're on like a 9-game win streak right now.
Them and the Orioles. Just ride them.
Yeah, I'm taking the Orioles again tomorrow.
Yeah, me too. I'll do it with you. It's on the card.
Perfect.
But, yeah, All-Star lineups being announced. All-Star game, I think it's July 21st. Jesse, if you could fact check me on that while I get into some of these, or while I get into the 2022 T-Mobile Home Run Derby bracket.
The All-Star game is on Tuesday, July 19th.
The Home Run Derby is Monday, July 18th. And we're coming up on it.
Yeah, a few days.
Monday. It's Monday. All right.
Monday.
Let's get into it. Here we go. And the seeding, I will do them in order. We have the 1 seed, Kyle Schwarber going up against Albert Pujols, who will be coming in as the 8th seed. And then right underneath them, the 3 and 4, we'll have Jose Ramirez and Juan Soto.
4-5.
4-5, yeah, my bad. The 3-6, we'll have Corey Seager and Julio Rodriguez of the Seattle Mariners. And the 2-7, we'll have the reigning back-to-back defending champion, Pete Alonso, the New York Mets, going up against Ronald Acuna Jr. Mackie?
All right, so how do you want to go about this?
Who do you think I like? Because I didn't know the seedings before I liked said player.
I don't know. See, here's the thing. I like Soto and Ramirez, but they're playing each other.
Yeah, you got to pick a guy on each side of the bracket.
All right, give me a second. I haven't really looked at this.
I'll tell you, I'll start. So, the player that I liked going into this, guy I've had on my fantasy team all year is Kyle Schwarber. As soon as I got the announcement that he was into this, or he was going to be playing in this, I was kind of all over him. Obviously, Alonso on the other side of the bracket, two guys that I'm looking at being the 1-2. Not necessarily happy that, kind of like I said a couple minutes ago, kind of seeing the names that I liked before seeing the rankings or the betting odds. Obviously, still not seeing the betting odds, but Schwarber being the 1, Pete Alonso being the 2 on different sides of the bracket. I think I'm going to be going with Schwarber on the left side of the bracket to come out of the 1-8-4-5. But on the other side of the bracket, just to make a value pick, I think, Mackie, can your boy go down in the first round for me? Can I take my boy Ronald Acuna Jr., the 7th seed? I think he could get some juicy odds.
Here's what I'm going to say. It's not a bad play.
You could get some juicy odds on Acuna in this year's Derby.
Here's the thing about it. Alonso just signed a fat deal. Before this, he was on his entry-level contract. So when he was making money off this home derby that he actually needed. So he was trying 110% in the 2 previous home run derbies because he needed the money. Now he just signed a fat deal. So who's to say he doesn't try as hard?
Yeah.
He's also a weirdo, so he's the type of person to be like, yeah, I want to win 3 back-to-back home run derbies. So I don't know. I can't see him not trying because he's a weird dude, man.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But as far as Schwarber, what do you think about that pick? I was kind of pissed to see him as the favorite.
I like the pick. Is it his first home run derby?
It is.
I think he beats Pujols. I like Schwarber against Pujols, and then I like Soto against Ramirez.
He has 6 home runs.
He's only in it because it's his last year.
Yeah, and it's at Dodger Stadium.
That's cool.
Because obviously he was a Dodger for, 2 years?
Yeah, something like that. But I got Schwarber against Pujols, and then I got Soto against Ramirez. And then I'm going to go Alonso, just because he's a nutcase and that guy can send anything out of the yard. I go Alonso, and then I'm going to go Rodriguez. I think Seager's going to hit the least amount of home runs out of everyone.
I was just going to say, who do you think hits the least? I was going to say Albert Pujols.
No, I think Seager does. And then I'm going to go Soto, and then
Soto was a bust last year.
Yeah, he was a huge bust last year, but I think he comes back and lights it up this year. And I think Alonso wins it again, to be honest.
So I'll go through the bracket. Obviously, I like Schwarber over Albert Pujols. I'm gonna agree with you. I'll go Jose Ramirez over Juan Soto, even though I think Soto has a nice outing, like you said. I think he still loses in the first round. The other side of the bracket, I'm gonna disagree with you just for sake of conversation. I'm gonna go with Acuna to get it done. I didn't know all that stuff about the contract stuff, so I like it even more. I'm going to talk it into existence, Acuna. And on the bottom, I'm going to agree with you. I like Julio Rodriguez. He's been having a hell of a rookie year for the Seattle Mariners. And I was a little intrigued to see Corey Seager in this too. I was trying to think of the 8 guys that I could imagine being in this.
Who gave him the 3 seed?
That's what I was thinking too.
Who seeds these?
So, obviously, the guy we want to see in this is Judge, not in it. A lot of guys.
Yeah, I heard Judge and Stanton were both going to do it, and then neither of them did it.
Yeah. Remember when Stanton did it with the Marlins? It was fucking nuts.
And he sent one off the roof or something.
Yeah. It's like LeBron saying he was going to do the dunk contest all those years and never doing it. It's like, why are you going to tease us with greatness and never fucking do it?
Yeah. LeBron should do it.
There's certain all-star like things, contests, I guess you would say, and the dunk contest has gotten so watered down over the past fucking 5-10 years.
It's just a bunch of
It's a bunch of losers holding up a 9 or a 10.
Yeah, it literally is a bunch of losers. Not
Holding up
losers,
a 9 or a
can't say
10.
losers. They're in the NBA, but they're not like
Yeah.
they don't play. They don't get minutes.
Yeah, it's not the guys we want to see. It's fucking Derek Jones. Like, I don't want to see Derek Jones.
Anthony Simons,
and Aaron Gordon. I don't want to see any of those players. I'm good. I'm good on any of those players in the dunk competition. Give me Giannis. Give me Joel Embiid. Give me LeBron and Ja Morant. Zion
Ja
Williamson.
Morant would be sick.
Like, Zion could win the dunk competition for the next 10 years, but he's not going to do it.
Yeah.
Same with Ja Morant. Him and Zion and Ja could go back and forth for the dunk competition for the next 10 years, but they won't do it. And like that's why I love the home run derby is because guys will do it. Obviously, Judge and these guys won't do it. I guess it's kind of the same thing. Like, we want to see Judge and Sin, and we get Kyle Schwarber and Pete Alonso. I'm not saying Alonso's a scrub, but like when you want Aaron Judge and you get Pete Alonso or Mike Trout, that's a little bit of a downgrade.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And like you said, who the fuck gave Corey Seager the 3 seed? To me, Acuna, put him at the 3, let him go up against Julio Rodriguez, and let Seager go up against Alonso. Then
Yeah,
I would say Alonso. I would say Alonso versus Acuna, Schwarber versus dude. I'm starting to think Soto. I don't know why you're talking to me into Soto.
I did hear something about Soto. I heard he's going to hit the longest shot.
That is a bet. I like that one. Mackie, who do you think it's a long bomb?
The long one? Yeah, I'm gonna go Soto here.
Yeah.
I want
The amount of power that guy has.
Another guy that could be in this that should be in it over like a Julio Rodriguez or an Albert Pujols is Rhys Hoskins from the Phillies.
I like him. He's really good.
I like him a lot too. He's on my team.
I like that Phillies team though. They have a nice team.
I do like that Phillies team.
Adding Castellanos was huge.
Castellanos, a drive from left field. Here's a drive from left field by Castellanos. Especially being on a microphone and hearing that name, it's like I feel like I have to say it. That's unreal. But yeah, that Phillies team is nuts. Like, I don't think they're going to make any noise in the playoffs. I don't know about you, but I haven't looked at the NL East standings. How are they doing compared to the Mets?
They're like 8 games back, I think. I think they have that last playoff spot right now.
They're in play only because your pitching staff is the most injury-prone pitching staff in the MLB.
Wait, what did you say at the beginning of the sentence?
I said they're only in play at 8 games back because the Mets have the most injury-prone pitching staff in the MLB.
Yeah, I think we just need to fire our
Your trainer. You said that last week. Your team doctor.
Yeah. No, not even our team doctor. Our pitching coach or whatever.
Yeah, he's just throwing guys' arms out in practice.
he is.
But so you're going with Alonso? It'll be interesting to see these odds. Are these odds out? They have to be out. I'm pulling up FanDuel. I didn't know it was this Monday. There's no way these odds aren't out yet. MLB. Here we go. Where is it? Derby. All right. Here are the
How do you find this shit?
Here are the betting odds for the 2022 T-Mobile Home Run Derby. The odds go as follows. Mackie, if you would be riding with Pete Alonso, you would be riding with the favorite as the back-to-back defending champion at plus 200 odds. Kyle Schwarber not far behind him at plus 250, and this is where the drop-off happens. It goes to Juan Soto at number 3 at plus 500. Ronald Acuna at plus 600. Julio Rodriguez plus 1,000. Jose Ramirez plus 1,200. Corey Seager 1,200 and Pujols 2,000.
2,000. They're just saying This guy's not gonna win.
This guy's here to hit 4 and wave goodbye. Dude, Jose Ramirez, if he can get out of the first round, he has a chance at plus 1,200. But I like Soto.
That's a good value play, to be honest.
Ramirez at 12-1 is the value play, I think. Because to see Acuna at 6-1, but he's the 7 seed, they're kind of seeing what I was saying. I was like, he's the 7 seed? There's no way he's the 7 seed. You know what I mean?
I don't think the seeds really mean anything, to be honest.
They don't, but you know what I mean? I saw that number, and I was like, fuck that. Like, I mean, if he can beat Alonso, I think he wins. He gets to the final. Him or Alonso get to the final, put it that way. I don't think Julio Rodriguez or Corey Seager beat either one of them. So you're betting Pete Alonso or Ronald Acuna out of that side, and then the other side, they think Juan Soto or Schwarber. So if me and you both said Jose Ramirez, I did say you were talking me into a little bit of Soto, but Jose Ramirez, he gets out of the first round, he can get a lucky run against Schwarber. You can get him in the final round at plus 12 or 12.
Yeah, I think on the left side, I think 3 out of 4 of them can definitely win it.
Yeah, anyone but Pujols.
Yeah.
Soto 5-1. I'm all over the place on these odds. I wish I didn't look at these. Schwarber 250 though, like that was my guy. I feel like I have to go with him. He's not the favorite. Not that that means anything, but like I did know Alonso was going to be the favorite back to back.
Yeah, he should be. I mean,
yeah, agree.
What he's done in past home run derbies.
He didn't just win it by luck. He kicked ass.
He absolutely he demolished it.
Yeah, my two value, not I guess value picks, but they're all plus money. I'll go Schwarber and Acuna. I like that Acuna 6-1. I hate that. Like, I wish he was going up against Rodriguez or Corey Seager, but 6-1. I know you'll disagree, but yeah, just to make a play. We'll get into these. We'll see how I feel. We'll see how I feel on Monday.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of the times
when it comes down to it,
I usually pick a winner from each side, and then I do like the how many home runs, like the totals, like how many home runs is Schwarber gonna hit, how many home runs is Pujols gonna hit, like I don't know about you guys, I'm gonna be eyeing like Pujols is under and Seager's under. If they're set at a good number, we might want to be looking at those unders.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you're flipping a coin when it comes down to that because like it's a home run derby, like.
But he gets three bad pitches. He gets 3 bad pitches in a row. You're going to hit the under. But he gets in a groove. You're fucked.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's just fun. Yeah, it's the All-Star game.
It's just fun to bet on, yeah.
Yeah. But
right.
yeah, obviously stay tuned to the social media for what's going to be coming with the 2022 All-Star game and Home Run Derby from us. Going to be releasing a lot of picks and a lot of content coming around that, so stay tuned to the Instagram stories and stuff like that on Twitter. That's going to do it for the MLB. Let's get into some of these NHL. Obviously, the NHL Free Agency starting in the past few days. A lot of trades to get into, tons of signings, and a retirement coming out of Edmonton. But Jesse, why don't you take us away here with some of these free agent signings?
Tons of free agent signings. We're just going to rip through them. Stop when we need to and talk about them as we see. First up, the Minnesota Wild are bringing back veteran goaltender Marc-Andre Fleury on a 2-year deal worth $3.5 million a year. I think this is a great signing for the Wild. There was a little speculation about where Fleury might end up if he's going to sign a 1 year somewhere or something like that. But this may be his finishing point. Possibly these 2 years. Who knows?
I think this could be a final stop for the Flower, a final sprout, if you could say, in Minnesota. But yeah, kind of back to what we would say a couple years ago or I guess what I said a couple episodes ago when he went to Vegas. That was kind of a shock when he got traded to the Blackhawks because he seemed like a kind of guy that, okay, he didn't want to leave Pittsburgh and Vegas took him, and they understood that he didn't want to leave the Penguins organization or Pittsburgh in general. obviously with the family situation with the young children and all that stuff, being a professional athlete. But he seemed like a guy that didn't want to leave Pittsburgh, going to Vegas. They trade him to Chicago. He signs with Minnesota. And honestly, as soon as I heard the news of him re-signing with the Wild in the past week, I thought back to as soon as we were all talking about it, and I literally thought to my take of him going to Montreal, and I was like, you sound like a fucking idiot, let alone, he's not going to leave the city he was in, let alone leave the country. So him to re-sign in Minnesota kind of, I feel like, was very in front of my face, and I just didn't see it. But yeah, obviously him going back with the Wild, kind of to get into some of what's coming out of Minnesota. Obviously, we talked last week about the Kaprizov situation. I think he's going to be there. I think you can expect big things out of this Wild team next year. But you look at the goaltending situation, they bring back Fleury on a 2-year deal for $3.5 million. Cam Talbot was an all-star last year for this Wild team. Do you think they go with 2, or like I was kind of confused with. That's why I thought Fleury was on his way out. Cam Talbot was an all-star last year.
Cam Talbot just got signed to Ottawa.
Okay, that's when I was. I didn't know they were both free agents, so they're going with Fleury.
Yeah, they literally said, because that was like the question. They were like, what are they going to do with these goalies? And I'm pretty sure he literally said, I'm getting rid of Talbot. Like, Fleury's my guy.
I missed the entire. I did not know Talbot was a free agent or in Ottawa. He's an Ottawa Senator. That's another signing. Mackie, why don't you announce that one?
Let me backtrack on that, because my friend told me that. And
is that leaked or that's official? You're checking.
Yeah, Talbot is in. Cam Talbot has his number 33. Yep. He is signed in Ottawa. Let me see if I can find the details on it.
Ottawa, dude. We wanted to get into them. Let's start right
here. That's what they needed.
There's a couple more signings. I actually don't want to get into them right now. There's a couple more signings that we have on this list for Ottawa, but definitely a team that we're going to want to dig into.
He was traded for Gustafsson.
Okay. So they did want to get rid of him. They traded him.
Yeah, because Murray went to the Leafs.
Okay, so it was a 3-way.
No, Murray went to the Leafs separately.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. And another one, Matt Murray to the Leafs.
Yeah, Matt Murray signs with the Leafs. What else we got?
Wasn't that technically a trade? We'll get into. I think we have a couple of these actually. Now that I'm looking down, we did not have the. Yeah, we did have Matt Murray. So before we keep rambling off, Jesse, you want to take over with this Philip Forsberg news?
Yes. Next, we got Philip Forsberg has secured his spot in Nashville, signing an 8-year, $8.5 million a year deal. Good stuff out of Nashville for him. I think a pretty good signing for Nashville, just to keep him around and a solid player for another 8 years.
Yeah, I think it's a franchise player for them. Obviously, them building around a guy like Forsberg, trying to get a guy back, their franchise player in net, Husey Saros, and a guy like a Vezina runner-up in Roman Josi. Obviously, we saw the voting and the Norris voting. Could have been the Norris winner, but obviously we saw how the voting went. Obviously goes to Makar. The runner-up, obviously they have a really nice team in Nashville. Like I said last episode or 2 weeks ago, the matchup with them against the Stanley Cup champions in the first round. Tough matchup for a team without their goalie, so them to ink Forsberg for 8 more years is definitely huge for the front office. A big win for the Nashville Predators, if you ask me.
Yeah, he just belongs in Nashville. He's one of those guys that's just a franchise player. Keep him around. Probably a good locker room guy, I assume. He's a good guy on the ice. So, this team, they got some good assets going for them. They're always going to be a playoff team. They had that Stanley Cup run that they had a few years ago where they lost. I forget to who. You can tell me. Who was it?
The Penguins.
Okay, so they lost to the Penguins. They had a nice run, though. I think that was their peak. I don't think they're going to get back there, but this is a team that's going to stick around for a few years and at least make the playoffs for a few more years.
Jesse, you were at Nashville for that game.
Yes, I was. Yeah, that was a wild time, actually.
What? Couple more signings, yeah. Obviously, Philip Forsberg in Nashville. A couple more to get into. Adrian Kempe inking a 4-year deal with the Kings. Mackie, I know you said this wasn't the kind of something that you wanted to get into, but I did have something I wanted to say. I feel like he is a big part of this up-and-coming Kings team. We've been kind of chatting and texting about all these up-and-coming NHL teams. Ottawa, Detroit, LA making the playoffs last year a little bit before their time. Nashville, a team that we just talked about, but I think a guy like Kempe had a huge contribution to what the Kings were able to do last year. I can't name their lineup top to bottom. Guys like Kempe and Arvidsson and Kopitar, and then obviously in net Johnny Quick. But I think this is a big signing for the Kings. 4 more years, not necessarily a huge deal. Obviously, we don't have any money written down here, so I don't know the exact dollar amount for Kempe. But I think 4 years for him. He was obviously we were talking about going into the NHL playoffs. We all thought the Oilers. I think we all picked the Oilers in 5, or one of us might even pick a sweep. I'm not quoting it, but I think most of us picked Oilers in 5. We thought it was going to be a pretty easy series. The Oilers did end up winning, but in 6. Kings putting up a fight in that series. I thought it was a good series. So
Kings were up in that series twice,
yeah,
I think. Wasn't it
yes.
1-0 and then 2-1?
Yes, and then the Oilers won 3 straight.
Yeah. So I mean, they had control. Don't get me wrong. They were there. They had they were doing what they needed to. But I mean, McDavid and Draisaitl just weren't going to let that happen this year.
Edmonton came out as the better team, and that's why they got to where they got swept, but not the finish they were looking for. But yeah, I think kind of what I was saying back to Kempe, a good signing for LA, building a team out in the Western Conference right now.
Yeah, they definitely stepped up big time.
But a couple more, Jesse.
Yeah, a couple more to rip through here. Alexander Georgiev signed a 3-year deal with the Avs.
Going to add Stanley Cup champions, obviously. We'll get into losing their goaltender, but adding the backup of the New York Rangers, but not necessarily a huge move around. But it'll be interesting to see what Colorado does. Obviously, after a team wins the championship, the kind of like offloading of players, kind of because you just won, and then they kind of bring in a bunch of teams to try to kind of rebound things. But it seems like Colorado is going to send it with that Francois dude.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, Georgiev's better than people think. He's sitting behind the best goalie in the league this year, so he didn't really get a lot of recognition. And when he did get in, you're standing on the balls of your feet the entire time because you can't mess up because you don't get many chances for this. But he's a really good goalie. He's not a backup. He should be a starter, and not me. He's definitely not the answer for the Avs. Don't get me wrong. Like he shouldn't be their franchise goalie, but he's definitely good enough to be a starter on a team that is maybe up and coming or just is. I just don't think this is a spot for him.
I know what you mean. And you would know, honestly, more than that, because I feel like, honestly, every time, at least not every time.
He's like Talbot. Talbot played behind Lundqvist, and Lundqvist got hurt, and Talbot showed him what he could do, and Talbot's been a starter ever since. And he's learned to be a starter on teams that are winning, too. So, he had a start in Edmonton when Edmonton was awful. Not in the playoffs, but now he's a big part of that Minnesota team last year, and hopefully he can do something with Ottawa this year too.
I've heard a couple situations about people saying Cam Talbot, obviously before the Ottawa, I didn't know about this, but there was a couple of people saying should he go back to Edmonton.
Yeah, I don't know. Edmonton's got to do something with their goalie situation. They've never had a secure goalie.
Yeah, and obviously just getting swept in the Western Conference Finals by Stanley Cup champions. You could say whatever you want. Yeah, it's not that bad. We lost to the Cup champs, but you didn't win. Like, you didn't even get to the Cup. You're
in the Western Conference Finals. Be respectable at least.
Yeah, you just
get a
win.
I understand the Avs are this crazy powerhouse, but you guys got there too. You're one of the 2 best teams in the Western Conference Finals. You should win a game in a 4-game series.
You got to defend your barn.
Cool, you guys got there. McDavid, you got there. Like, good. I'm happy for you, but you didn't win anything.
I agree. Yeah, but like you said with Georgiev, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Avalanche. And like I said, I've heard a couple of people say it seems like the Georgiev-Francois matchup, like the sample size that we have gotten with Francois has been small. Obviously, the year that Kemper had last year, I don't think Kemper's necessarily an elite goalie. Obviously, being on an elite team makes you look better, and obviously getting the deal that he got, we'll get into that in a little bit with the Capitals, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with Georgiev and Francois.
Yeah, definitely.
They have a good enough team that they can play two goalies.
Yeah, they can test their waters.
Yeah.
They could test their waters.
They lost a couple. We'll get into that as well.
Yes, and the first stop on our Red Wings tour, Ville Husso signed a 3-year deal with the Red Wings. Good pickup there.
I was going to say, I do like this one. Obviously, me being my secondary NHL team, always been Detroit Red Wings. I've always rooted for them, but kind of the rebuild the past couple of years has been tough to watch. Kind of been watching them grow slowly. Got guys like Moritz Seider, Lucas Raymond. You look up and down the lineup, but getting guys like Nedeljkovic last year on a 2-year deal, so getting Nedeljkovic this year in a contract year, I guess you would say. Going to be a free agent next year, but you get a guy like Husso off of the Blues on a 3-year deal off of a very... I thought Husso had a fucking hell of a year last year. I don't know. I mean, the stats speak for themselves. I mean, he might not have done his job in the playoffs, obviously losing in 6 games to the Blues, the injury to Binnington, the tough situation getting put into that series, losing that Game 6 or Game 5 and 6, getting put into Game 5 in a losing effort. Obviously, they were already losing. But I think Husso's a hell of a goalie. And to go to a team like Detroit, we keep talking about these teams that are up and coming. Teams like Detroit, like I said, Seider, the Calder Trophy winner, Lucas Raymond, they're a hell of a lineup. Dylan Larkin, I can name the whole lineup. It's like, I just feel like Detroit and a lot of these young teams, it's going to be very exciting to see what they do. And to get a goalie like Husso that you can just throw in net, and I guess he's not necessarily a franchise goalie, but I guess I have more faith in him than a guy like Georgiev just because I guess he's had more of a sample size with Binnington.
And he's proved more, to be honest. At the end of the day, he's proved more than Georgiev has.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like a 3-year deal for him to go to Detroit means more than Georgiev going to a powerhouse like the Avalanche.
Yeah, definitely. I like what the Red Wings are doing up there in Detroit. So that team should be good. Maybe not this year. Maybe they'll still be outside, hanging out outside a little. But next 2-3 years, they're going to be in the talks, in the conversation.
If you ever listen to Chicklets, it's funny. Bissonnette always calls Stevie Yzerman Stevie Bong
Stevie
Rips.
Y.
He calls him Stevie Bong Rips because he always says, there was an interview where someone asked him something and he was like, yeah, I forget what he said. It was the funniest interview. You'd have to look up just Steve Yzerman weed interview. It was basically people assuming he smokes. It's funny though, but Bissonnette always refers to him as Stevie Bong Rips. So he's always anytime the Red Wings do something, he's like, yeah, Stevie Bong Rips just sitting up in the front office, signing guys, stealing dudes off the free agent market, 3 steps ahead of every other GM in the NHL. It's it honestly seems like when the Red Wings do things, or certain franchises in sports, and the Red Wings are one of those teams, obviously having a couple down years the past couple years, but they're definitely a respected team in the NHL, and when guys like Stevie Yzerman are in the front office running things, you just kind of trust the process, I guess you'd say, to use a 76er term.
76er term.
Lots of good stuff for the Pens coming up. The Pittsburgh Penguins re-signed forward Rickard Rakell to a 6-year deal worth $5 million annually. And some of the bigger news, forward Evgeny Malkin, 4-year contract, $6.1 million a year. They've also re-signed Letang, DeSmith, and as I just said, Rakell. Lots of good stuff for the Penguins. Real excited with those re-signings. What do you guys got?
I'll start us off here. Malkin. I'm gonna jump right into Malkin. Obviously, the boy.
I'm just gonna say, I'm very disappointed Malkin re-signed with the Penguins. I had very high. I didn't want to say it out loud because I didn't want to jinx it, but I was very hopeful that he was going to be a Ranger, and I really thought he was going to be. To be honest,
there was a time I was scared. I was worried.
But I mean, yeah, he belongs to be in Pittsburgh. So
yeah, and I said it a million times. I just can't imagine this guy in another uniform. But, like, there was so many times, and like, Jesse, you know, there's so many times throughout his career the Penguins have been like, do we trade Malkin? Do we trade Malkin? Do we move on from Malkin? Like, and at every point that the Penguins have considered moving on from him, it always seems it comes back to Sid, Malkin, Letang, the core. We've won 3 cups. Like, obviously, they'd still love to have Fleury, and like we got into Fleury with his situation with the Wild. Obviously, we have Jari, kind of definitely our franchise goalie. You just look at a guy like Malkin and the offer sheet that was on the table. I think it's tough for a guy to walk away from what he has, or what he has meant, especially for this franchise for the entirety of his career. He accepted the second hand to Sid. He loves, you know what I mean, Sid handling all the press and all that stuff. So I'm not saying that's why he re-signed. That was more part of his younger career. But to come back and understand the role of, let's just keep doing what we're doing. We're not too far off. They understand I've keep driving this point home, and I feel like I'm making excuses, but you were up 3-1 with a fucking third-string goalie in net. Like, I know this was against the Rangers, and like, you guys won the series. You guys got to the conference finals. You were a legit fucking contender last year. I think you could have won the cup, obviously, with the Lightning losing. I think maybe you would have put up a better fight against the Avalanche, just because I think Shesterkin would have been, like you said, that pissed off goalie in the cup that you would have not wanted to play on his home ice. I think the Rangers would have defended their home ice, but back to the Penguins, I think re-signing the core, a guy like Raquel that you didn't even have in the first round, you had in game 1, taking that high hit, not, you know what I mean, to lead into anything, just taking a hit to the head. I guess the blow going to his head for a better term, but missing the blunt of the series, playing parts of game 1, missing, like I said, the whole series, and the Penguins just being kind of banged up and getting to 7 games. You have to look at, if you're the front office, I know the things have happened with Mario selling the team to that Boston, what's it called, Jesse? The Boston Sports Group?
Yeah, the Fenway Sports Management Group. Or
Fenway
Sport,
like whatever. We got sold to anything. It's like, I know a lot of times in sports when new management takes over, they like to move on from franchise players, especially in a contract year like this with Malkin. It was definitely a lot more realistic this time around compared to other times when the Penguins were thinking about moving on from Malkin. But at least obviously coming from a Penguin fan, me being a Penguin fan, I think this was huge for the Penguins to kind of re-sign the core. And obviously, like, I've driven home the point with the playoffs the past couple of years, I don't think we're far off from the 4th cup with this core. Little biasy coming from there, but I think you get some consistency with Jari. I don't think the Penguins are an easy team to play on home ice. Obviously, but more bias coming there, but there's a lot of teams in the NHL that you don't want to play on home ice in the playoffs. But guys like Crosby and Malkin, just 2 dudes that have been there and done it before. I'd love to have those guys in my lineup. And kind of leading into what I said with the core, one that we don't have or we didn't talk about, Letang inking the 6-year deal with the Penguins. Just, they really kind of, the surprise, like I said, with the new ownership, moving into not only moving on from franchise players in contract years, but bringing back 2 of the guys in their mid to older 30s on 6 and 4-year deals combined, getting 10 years and some pretty big money. It shows the faith that they have in these 3 guys to get the job done. And it seems to me like the front office is thinking kind of like I am, and this team isn't too far off. Getting guys like Raquel, if you can get him in the lineup in a playoff series, I think he scores a couple goals. I know you're playing a guy like Shesterkin, and you saw Mackey a couple games he gets pulled, and you see a guy like Georgiev in net, and a couple of those games got out of hand that the Penguins won. Obviously, the Rangers winning in 7, but I'm really excited that the Penguins got Malkin back. I know you were, like you said, there was points I was really scared that we were going to lose him, and the main point was because of the new ownership, but getting the guy back is huge for the Penguins.
Yeah, it is big for you guys. That core is staying together. So you didn't think you were gonna see that.
Yeah, Jesse, I don't know if you have anything to say on this. Obviously, I rambled for like 6 minutes on that, but
I am very excited the Pens kept Malkin. I'm happy that everyone's taking some friendlier deals in a sense. The Pens have also signed a lot of good other, third and fourth liners for right around $1 million a pop. I can't think of any names off the top of my head, but
getting guys like
this,
you know what I mean? You can secure your backup goalie, a guy like the Smith again that missed the first
Right.
series last year, and you're forced to put a guy like Domingue in. I hate to keep sounding like I'm making excuses, and like I really honestly am, but like that's what sports fans do. That's what sports fans do. That's what we do.
Yeah.
you're exactly right.
It shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's always shoulda, woulda, coulda, unless you win the cup or the championship in whatever sport you're talking about. And like I hate for that because that we were hyping up that we wanted Penguins Rangers so hard, and obviously Sid missing Game 6. Like, dude, there was so many fucking injuries in that series, but like the better team won. You guys got to the conference finals. You put up a fight against the Lightning, but
Yeah, I'm not sure if we should have won, but at the end of the day, I think the better team did win.
the better team won. We stole Game 1 in triple overtime.
Well, you guys honestly should have won that game anyway. We played like shit that entire game. You guys dominated the entire play or overtime.
Yeah, all 3 overtimes. It looked like the Penguins should
But I
have
feel
won.
like when it was 3-1, like the second we won Game 2, like it was like everyone like kind of like felt like we were gonna win that series. Like
Yeah.
I honestly had no doubt when it was 3-1. I was like we're fucked. I honestly thought we were gonna lose in 5. We had zero momentum. Shesterkin was so shaky. I had zero confidence in him. But when you win Game 2 like that, or when you win Game 5 like that, and then
Dude,
you got all the confidence.
When I was at the game for Game 6 and that goal went over Domingue's head, I said that's the series.
That series, that's the
same.
series. Yeah.
I was sitting there. I would literally look at my dad. I was like, "That's a series. That's it. We're gonna lose."
You guys
the series.
also had you guys in Game 7. You guys had a lead going into the third period.
Rodriguez scored the biggest goal of his career, and it's yeah. All right, let's
All
move
for
on.
nothing.
Let's move on.
Alrighty, moving forward, the Avs sign. I don't know how to say his first name.
Valery Nichushkin.
Valery Nichushkin to 8 years, $49 million, so 6.1-ish million a year. Good signing there by the Avs. Do we want to comment?
That's a good guy that came over in the last year from the Dallas Stars. Had a huge contribution for Colorado in that playoff run. A hell of a player. Got them unloading other players that we'll get into, but re-signing guys like Nichushkin is going to be huge for the Avs to stay relevant. I hate to say stay relevant, but I guess you'd say to stay contenders.
Yeah, I agree. All around good signing.
And jumping into the Senators, Claude Giroux to the Ottawa Senators. The 34-year-old veteran signs a 3-year deal with the Senators.
Hell of a lot of shit coming out of Ottawa, as you said. News for me coming that Cam Talbot is now a Senator. Just Ottawa's been all over the place, and the one that we don't have is on here that I wanted to talk about with Ottawa. Whenever we got to Ottawa, obviously Giroux landing there, coming there after trying to basically chase a cup with the Panthers. He got traded there, so you can't blame him on that too hard. But I think he did have a no trade clause, so he waived it. But we'll get, you know what I mean? Can't blame him on that. But he's a Senator now, and then you look at guys like DeBrincat getting traded to the Senators, and just kind of looking at what this team in Ottawa is building around this young core, like Stutzel and I can't think of the other guy's name. Kachuk, yeah, the other Kachuk. I couldn't think of his name.
Kachuk. You also got Josh Norris.
Who's the defenseman there that's pretty nice?
This team is young and really good, and they're going to be really good. They're going to be definitely a playoff team in the next 2 years.
Yeah, you look at team. I mean, we keep talking about Detroit. That's like I kept saying, all these young and up-and-coming teams. 2 teams in the East that I'm looking out for hard is Ottawa and Detroit.
Alrighty, back to some Penguins. They signed former Tampa Bay Lightning defenseman John Ruda to a 3-year contract worth $2.75 million a year. Another one, veteran David Perron to the Red Wings, 2-year, $9.5 million a year.
Just another asset for these Red Wings making moves. This is a good move for them, I think.
Yeah, looking at obviously we keep bringing up the Red Wings. I kind of wish I would have clumped these together, but
you get a vet on this young team.
Yeah, you get guys like veterans. I was a huge fan of David Perron when he came to Pittsburgh for a couple of years.
Me too.
I really liked him. He's a hell of a
I
player.
didn't even know he was ever in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he played a couple years here, 2 or 3 years, Jess.
At least 2 or 3, yeah.
He didn't win a cup with us. Did he? No.
He may have.
No. He didn't win a cup. I'm looking that up. We can continue.
Alrighty, and moving to the Western Conference there. Far over into Seattle, the Kraken add Andre Burakovsky with the 5-year, $27.5 million deal there.
It's a good signing for them too. They definitely need
agree.
it. They definitely need it.
I'm surprised we're not hearing their name more. I feel like maybe we will hear come later into the free agency.
I just think this is kind of what you expect out of a expansion team, kind of building off of teams like that are unloading guys like teams like the Avalanche that necessarily can't afford to bring guys like Burakovsky back, especially on a 5-year, $27.5 million contract. But to fact check my point about David Perron, he is a Stanley Cup champion, but with the 2019 St. Louis Blues.
Yeah, I knew he went with the Blues.
When did he play for us? Had to be right before the Cup run then.
It was probably, that 14 year. I'm looking that up right now. Before we move on, we might as well not even move on from this. I'm just going to pull this stat up. It's literally right here. So, it already has listed that he's a Red Wing. St. Louis, Pittsburgh. From 2014, 2015, 2016. Yeah, we won the Cup in 15-16. He was in Anaheim, and then 16-17 he was in St. Louis.
Gotcha. All right.
Before a short stint with the Vegas Golden Knights, he's played 3 stints with the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah, he's always went back there. I remember hearing that multiple times. Just like, oh, he's going back.
Yeah, him and his tinted visor and his white skates.
Alrighty, the Stahl brothers unite. The Florida Panthers add defenseman Mark Stahl to a 1-year, $750,000 contract, while his brother Eric Stahl is going to Florida on a professional tryout.
That's a little interesting. I didn't honestly know either of these guys were still in the league.
Yeah, this is news to me.
Yeah, those Stahl brothers got to stick together, right?
Yeah, to make themselves relevant.
Alrighty, and some goalie signings. Thomas Greiss will be backing up Jordan Binnington this year for the Blues. 1 year, $1.25 million.
That's a laundry bag move.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Another goalie, Darcy Kemper, is signing a 5-year, $26.25 million deal with the Caps. Kemper's backup will be Charlie Lindgren, who they also just signed. 3-year, $3.3 million deal.
I don't know if this is even good for the Caps, to be honest.
They just had to get something in place, I think.
I like it for the Caps because I'm a Penguin fan.
True.
I don't think Kemper's legit. I mean, he just won a cup, but
I don't think he's legit.
He's not going to carry this Washington team. Yeah,
That team carried him to a championship.
Exactly.
That Colorado team.
It's like how we were talking about a couple weeks ago whenever we were talking about the Sharks in the Cup, and you were like, who was the goalie? I was like, Martin Jones.
Yeah.
He lost.
Darcy Kemper.
Yeah. He was a Coyote the year before he was an Avalanche.
Yeah, right place, right time.
Honestly, perfect wording. But Mackie, your Rangers getting a big name here.
Yeah, Mackey's Rangers secure Vincent Trocheck after getting a good look at him through their series with the Carolina Hurricanes, signing him to a 7-year, near $40 million deal. I like Vincent Trocheck a lot. I do.
I do really like this play, but I was expecting Malkin or Kane, and we get Trocheck. Trocheck is very good. He's a very good asset for our team right now, but this isn't the move that I thought our front office was going to make. And I'm not necessarily upset about it, but.
So here's what I heard. Basically, if the Penguins would have moved on from Malkin, he was going to be a Ranger. If the Rangers would have signed Malkin, the Penguins were going to sign Vincent Trocheck.
What could have been.
So those two teams were basically locks for those two players.
See, I think this would be nice, but the Canes got really good too. So
The Canes just couldn't afford Trocheck. They got way too good, and that's what's crazy is like we haven't even talked about the Canes yet, and they subtracted Trocheck and they got better.
well, this is a good. He's a center, correct?
I think he's a winger.
Are you sure?
I honestly don't know. Don't quote me on
I'm
that.
pretty sure he was a center for Panarin. They brought him in to play with Panarin.
That could be true. That could be true.
Let me look it
Damn,
up. Hold
that could
on.
be scary. That could be a very fucking nice line. Him.
Yeah,
Who's the winger I'm forgetting about that scored all the goals against the Penguins? Tin Advisor.
for us,
Yeah.
Cop.
Copp. Andrew Copp. Fuck him.
Cop's
bro.
gone.
Where's he?
Yeah,
You don't know
he's
where he
next. Red Wings signing Andrew Kopp, 5-year, $28 million deal.
All right, I'm an Andrew Copp fan. I like Andrew
Huff
Copp.
you are the newest Andrew Kopp fan.
Trocheck is a center, but dude, I loved Cop. I loved him. I think he was the best deadline ad that we could have possibly had. I think that ad. I think brought us to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think that ad alone.
He single-handedly, I know Panarin scored in Game 7 OT, but like single-handedly, I think Copp was like the Penguin killer.
Dude, he was so good with that line too. Like, why would you not give him the money? I don't understand. We were so expected to give him the money too.
Do you think he can have that significant of a role on a team like Detroit, a young team like that?
No, I don't think he's that type of player. I think he's the type of player who will shine with a player like Panarin. Not where he has to be Panarin. So I don't know.
'Cause he'll play with
It-
Larkin.
he's a good player. I mean, yeah, he'll do all right, but he's not gonna
He's
not
gonna have
gonna
his
shine like
moments. He'll play with Larkin. It's gonna be a lot of depending on what that team does.
Yeah, definitely.
This next one, obviously, as the headline says, Jesse, get right into it. The biggest name finds his home.
Yes, the biggest name of the 2022 offseason thus far has found a new home. Forward Johnny Gaudreau has agreed to join the Columbus Blue Jackets. 7-year deal worth $9.5 million a year. He reportedly left a lot of money on the table in Calgary. Apparently the final offer in Calgary was 8-year, $10.5 million a year. But he chooses the Columbus Blue Jackets.
I heard the Devils offered him like just around the same as Calgary.
Yeah, I heard he left a lot of money on the table to go to Columbus, which is very
But
interesting.
why Columbus? He's from South Jersey. I thought his only options were Philly, Islanders, and Devils. And then,
I heard Carolina snuck in there for a little bit.
dude, why Columbus? They're not even contenders. Like you go from Calgary. I understand you want to leave Calgary. I get it. But go to another contending team. Go to the Islanders. The Islanders have a nice young core. Go play with Barzal. What are you doing in Columbus, where they don't have anything going for them?
I didn't even think about the Islanders. That would have been a nice landing spot.
That's where I thought he was going. It was a perfect spot for him.
Did you hear what I said about how I heard Carolina snuck in there for a little bit?
Yeah, but they wouldn't be able to afford him right now.
Yeah, obviously that was before all this big stuff going around with Carolina. But yeah, Gaudreau going to Columbus, interesting deal, taking a less year deal and less money from, like you said, teams like the Devils. And I heard the Flyers release a statement. They weren't even in play for him. Like they released a statement for him. They said, like, we don't have the money. We're not paying him. It's like, who are you paying right now that you can't afford
What a
Johnny
Flyers
Gaudreau?
thing to do.
Like, I honestly, though, like, if I'm a team like the Flyers, I'm not looking to give Johnny Gaudreau $9 million. That's not going to turn your team around. Like we talked about last week, it turns you into from a 28-win team to a 32-win team. 31.
Yeah, but dude, the Flyers are literally so down in the dumps right now that I think you need to sign a player like that. Like, you need the attraction. There is zero attraction looking at that team right now. Why would you want to go there? There's nothing there. They're one of the worst teams in the league right now.
What's crazy is they have guys like I think Farabee on the Flyers is a very nice player.
Yeah, but he's young and he has no one to play with.
Exactly.
Couturier? Who you gonna play with Couturier?
Yeah, he's been there for 45 years.
Yeah, and he's not even. all that anymore. So, oh, he hooked it. Oh,
But it's going to wrap up some of these NHL free agent signings. We're getting into some of these big name trades.
Yeah, let's jump into some trades. First off, Chicago receives Peter Mrazek and a 2022 first-round pick. Toronto receives a 2022 second-round pick in this trade. Keep rolling.
Yeah,
Keep
just
rolling.
keep rolling. You can roll with a lot of these.
Yeah. Flyers get defenseman Tony DeAngelo and a 2022 seventh-round pick. Canes receive a 2024 second-round pick, 2023 third-round pick, 2022 fourth-round pick. Tony DeAngelo will join Torts in Philly.
what a torch player! What a
just
torch
talking
player
about,
in a city of scumbags. This is like the best possible trio of all time. The city of Philadelphia, John Tortorella, and Tony DeAngelo. You can't make this up.
he's a Flyer.
He should be a Flyer. He should retire a Flyer.
Yeah, as we talked about, the Avs got Gorgiev. The Yotes received forward Zach Cassian, 2022 first-round pick, 2024 third-round pick, and a 2025 second-round pick. And Edmonton gets a 2022 first-round pick from the Coyotes. Toronto Maple Leafs acquire goaltender Matt Murray and 2 draft picks in exchange for future considerations from the Senators. So Matt Murray gets another life in the Leafs.
How do you add N2 draft picks for future considerations?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
What? Just send them for future considerations. Why do you got to add the draft picks for future considerations?
Yeah, that makes no sense to me. I didn't really think about that until you just said that.
Just doesn't make any sense.
They're like, yeah, here, take our goalie and our third and fifth round pick, and we'll call you in like 18 months.
Yeah, let us know what you think it's worth in a year.
Yeah, it's like we'll work with you.
Like nobody can win in that situation.
No, honestly, no. Like it's kind of like passive income though. Like, all right, I'll give you my goalie and 2 draft picks now if you give me your second round pick in 2 years. But like, why is it future considerations? Just give me your second round pick right now.
Say the damn pick.
Right.
Get in the gap. Get in the gap. Oh, you're such a fucking cocksucker.
All right, last one I got is Brent Burns is going to the Carolina Hurricanes. I don't have any details on that deal, but that's where he's ending up.
He's cop Jason.
Yeah, he is, but at least he's still playing.
He's cop Jason.
Yeah. I still think it's a pretty cool move.
He doesn't have one, right?
It's good for him.
He went to the Cup, like we said, with the Sharks, but
against the Penguins, yeah.
I think this is a cool move. I think he could actually honestly add to that Carolina team. Veteran defenseman coming in obviously can definitely handle some power play minutes for a team that they didn't succeed on their power play in the playoffs. Obviously going against a goalie like Shesterkin, but going 7 games against a team like Boston, you got to think.
No, they were actually like really bad. They were like 1 for 26 at one point.
Yeah, you got to think a guy like Burns comes in there at least on the second unit and gives you some, momentum on the power play.
Yeah.
So that's more of the kind of aspect that I'm thinking of. But like you said, a veteran, kind of like you said, cup chasing, kind of leaving a team for who knows how many years he's been with San Jose. I believe that's the only team he's played for, correct?
I'm pretty sure. So. Yeah, he was drafted by them. I know.
Yeah, so that's definitely the only team that he's played for.
Can you guys still hear me?
Player for them.
Can you guys still hear me fine?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
My one AirPod just died. I'm pretty sure my other one's about to go too.
Yeah, we're about to wrap up, so you're good.
Yeah, we're almost done.
Jesse just ripped this Duncan Keith news. But yeah, Brent Burns of the Canes, I think that's a good move. So a little retirement news coming out of Edmonton, Alberta, and then we're going to wrap things up. Jesse, take it away.
Yeah, another veteran here taking retirement for a spin. Duncan Keith has opted to retire. 1 year left on his deal, valued at $5.5 million. Great career for him with 2 Norris trophies. Conn Smythe, no complaints from me. Good career for him. Congrats to him.
Yeah, obviously a hell of a player. Obviously part of that dynasty that was in Chicago for all those years from 2010 to 2015. 3 cups in 5 years defines a dynasty, or 3 championships in any league in my year in 5 years defines a dynasty. But that Blackhawks team was competitive every year. Definitely could have been, if not the favorite, to win the cup every year. Taking home 3, him getting 2 Norrises in the span of his career. Walking away from $5 million left on the table with a year left with the Oilers after getting swept in the Western Conference Finals. I don't know if that's anything against the Oilers. I think it's more his situation. He went there with the hopes to win it last year. The kind of the downfall of getting swept in the conference finals at his age. It's just kind of let's call it quits. Especially with the state that Edmonton's in right now. Not necessarily that they're the favorite to win the cup right now, or going to be at any point next year unless they make a huge splash for a big name goalie or something that's going to really shake things up. But I think that's why you see a retirement in Duncan Keith. And like you said, a hell of a career. But that's kind of my 2 cents of what happened with Edmonton. I don't think it's necessarily anything really that's going to subtract from Edmonton's lineup as good of a player as he was. That's more kind of getting it back to his age. I just think that Edmonton is looking to move on from this, and they'll put this money elsewhere.
Yeah, definitely a great career for him. Obviously, his legacy in Chicago will always be there, but, good for him. He's getting up there in age. Might as well retire. You got your accolades.
I mean, fucking 3-time Cup champ, 2-time Norris as a defenseman. What more can you ask for? You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
He's done it all. So, but that's going to wrap it up for the NHL segment. It's also going to wrap it up for this episode. So you're definitely going to want to stay tuned to the Instagram at hitthebooks.pod. Also on Twitter, sometimes releasing the pics on Twitter a little bit before the Instagram. So definitely going to want to turn your post notifications on for all the social media platforms that we have. At hitthebooks.pod, at hitthebooks_pod. Follow us on everything. Make sure you're subscribed on all the forms of wherever you get your podcasts. Episode 42 coming out. Excited to get to the boys. Excited to get back next week. Thanks for listening. See you guys next week. Episode 43 coming soon.
Couldn't have said it better myself. See you guys next week.
Episode 42 in the books for Hit the Books. Huff said it best. That's all we got. Thanks for all the support. See you next week. And that's going to do it for us this week on Hit the Books podcast. Thank you for all the support week in and week out. Please be sure to share and check out our various social media platforms and check out our website. All the info is located in our link tree in the description below. And always remember to hit the books.
Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.